From a bird's eye view, large mats of sargassum can be seen carried by the Caribbean current en route to the coastlines of many Caribbean and Latin American countries like Belize. The sargassum phenomenon has been affecting the region since 2011, but recently, these massive blooms of the brown microalgae have slowly crept up on pristine beaches. Tons of the seaweed have invaded the beaches of San Pedro and Burgess Key. The unpleasant smell many describe as a rotten egg smell, and the sight of the decaying sargassum have caused many businesses along the beach to lose customers. For blue marlins, the sargassum is causing a detrimental economic effect on its ability to attract paying patrons.
The tourists, they really complain about it because if you notice, we have the stoop right there, the veranda, and so what happens is that they sit here and they can't enjoy the ambience because then they have the bad smell. So they don't really enjoy being here and having a nice drink or having a nice food or something, A lot of us has lost business, I should say, because it's a small town, It's big, but it's very small, and a lot of us are friends who owns business, and all of us have the same complaints.
Blue Marlins employee Kevin Locario's task to convince customers to stay becomes nearly impossible with the lingering stench of the dead sargassum. English tourist Donald Bishop says the incredible amounts of sargassum has made his vacation experience different.
It's getting worse this time. It's the worst I've known it. Yeah, definitely.
What's the situation near Keycocker?
The situation in Kilcook is exactly the same. It's probably more there, I'd say. They're trying to clear it up, but it's just too much.
Lindsay Haxton has been operating Belize Art, a jewelry and gift shop situated on the beach for 30 years. Since the beginning of the year, Haxton has been burning incense to fight off the stench of the sargassum. It has not worked, and recently Haxton realized that the toxin released in the air by the decaying sargassum is wreaking havoc on her pieces of jewelry.
The gold-plated and the silver-plated, it actually corrodes, and some of the jewelry we've had to throw out. So our jewelry display has been really badly affected, and our sales, and a lot of it we've just stuffed in drawers. We don't even want to bring it out. You can see over here our cabinets turned black. Even the beadwork from the indigenous Mayan, some of that's turned black as well. It's terrible. I don't know what's going to happen.
Tourism Minister Manuel Heredia Jr. says Belize's tourism industry accounts for 38.8% of the gross domestic product. The sargassum is causing significant losses to the tourism industries across the region. In some Caribbean countries, major hotels have had to shut down due to the massive amounts of sargassum that have washed up along the beaches, transforming crystal clear waters into an unattractive, smelly and brown shade. In 2015, a Sargassum Task Force was created to address the problem. That task force is responsible for creating a national plan and looking at regional initiatives to adapt in order to successfully implement best practices as a way to lessen the negative effects. The task force recently met to address the sargassum problem with regional assistance.
20% of that amount we got in Belize, but 80% in the Western Caribbean and Mexico also. And that is the reason why we have to work together, not only locally. I believe that when we meet at the SICA level, Ministers of Tourism, we will have to try to see how we can address this issue together with our neighbors. It is not a matter for just locally, but I'll go regionally to try to see what can be done. I can recall in my fishing days, we did used to have this in the sargassum, but it was for a short time, probably 3 months, and it was over. This year had been the worst of the worst in the history of my fishing days until now.
As the amount of sargassum keeps piling up in the beach, the negative effects it has on the tourism sector in San Pedro town is mounting. In the meantime, the San Pedro Town Council has workers cleaning up the beach, but this temporary and sluggish solution to the sargassum invasion is not enough. Workers like Abdunazar Habeb Hajara spend about 8 hours a day trying to clean up as much of the beach using pitchfork and wheelbarrows.
We take it out and put it in a wheelbarrow, then we put it by piles, and then have one tractor come and pick it up and put it in a volteo, one big dump truck, and then carry the fill lots, properties and things.
Is it difficult?
It's not too difficult because it's heavy for the water, but the water will soak. Only because when it starts to get spoiled, it starts to stink.
It stinks really bad. How do you handle it?
Well, like we already used to it already.
Decaying sargassum is toxic to humans and animals. It releases hydrogen sulfide gas, and depending on the quantity inhaled, The poisonous and colorless gas can cause nausea and respiratory difficulties, especially in at-risk individuals such as those who suffer from asthma. Several factors are combining to create the perfect condition for these massive sargassum blooms. Large mats of sargassum are habitats for some marine life, but for others, it's fatal. Recent fish kills in San Pedro have been attributed to the sargassum, which is known to destroy habitats for fishes, sea turtles, and birds. The sargassum also hampers the ability for fishermen to find food. It is capable of destroying boat propellers, engines, and fishing equipment. So where is it all coming from, and what is causing it?
It is a phenomenon that is occurring because of many factors: global warming, upwellings. It's actually coming all the way from the Brazilian shelf.
Scientists finding out that the types of dispersants, specifically one called Corexit that was used in the BP oil spill, to have helped to create a very nutrient-rich environment. You have climate change, global warming, higher sea temperatures globally, causing the sea to be warmer and therefore more conducive to these massive blooms. It's a natural ecosystem, so it's floating in seas around this part of the world. And what's happening is because the water, the temperature, everything else is making it bloom, it's kind of coming from everywhere at the same time, which is why it's getting to crisis levels in many countries.
Many countries are looking for alternative use of the dead sargassum.
One of the things that they're looking at directly right now is landfill, composting. Some people are now in the region looking to see if there are other use for it in terms of feeds, animal feeds and stuff like that. But one of the biggest things that people are doing right now is just using it as landfill.
San Pedro is not the only part of the country that is being affected. In Placencia, the villagers there have come together to address the issue. The sargassum is causing further beach erosion in Hopkins Village, and Belize City is seeing its first wave of the sargassum assault. Reporting for News 5, Hipolito, Novelo.